I'm about to round it up anyway because I'm going to have to go. Kim, you shouldn't worry about these people that make these stupid comments.
No, I just don't want the false promise to be continued.
Let me say what I got to say now. It's like Twitter Spaces and the Twitter Warriors and all that crap. A lot of people just don't have no life. They've got a pathetic existence of a life, so they have to come on crap like this and they have to say stupid shit. So, whatever. Anyway.
Agreed.
Yeah. Look, it's really simple. The system that we have now has created everything that is wrong with our country. It's that simple. Whether it's the drug trafficking, the child trafficking, corruption in general, it's been created. People do not for our children, then we're just as pathetic as they are. We can get rid of these people. We can get rid of them. We can get rid of these officials. We can make a difference. And until we do, we're part of the problem. And I do want to say this, and I do tend to say things to piss people off, but it really is how I feel. You go vote for a Democrat, you go vote for a Republican, well, then you're voting for this crap to happen to these children. And sleep on that tonight.
Oof. Thank you for being here, Philip. Really important points. I hope people listen to them. I know you got to go soon, so there's a lot more that I would love to talk to you about. Let me know when we can go live on your account because there's a lot of questions I would love to ask.
What day is good with you?
Y'all let us know in the comments. What's a good day for us to talk more with Philip Drake about his policies, things he wants to change. Let us know maybe this Saturday, this weekend, or sometime next week. We go live every Thursday on this account, Veterans for Child Rescue. The account is Child Rescue. We go live every Thursday at 7:30 Central, and we talk about child trafficking. So, Philip Drake, I'm down for this weekend or whenever you'd like to. People are saying any day. So, we'll just get the day and time together. We'll announce it on your profile. Guys, real quick, follow Philip Drake right here. Sorry, my finger's there. Follow Philip Drake. It's Vote Drake 2024 on his account. Go ahead and give that account a follow. We're going to have this conversation continued. So we appreciate the truth. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you fighting for the kids. We appreciate all the solutions you've presented tonight. We know not everyone was here for the full conversation, but it was a really good one. If TikTok allows this recording to be downloaded, then we will repost this conversation on our YouTube. I wouldn't hold my breath, but dang, we dropped some truth tonight. So
yeah, I'm sorry about that. But hey, look, you guys,
don't be sorry. I'm not asking you to apologize.
Yeah. You guys have a great night. Sorry, I got a notification up there and it blocked me. It messed me up. You guys have a great night. And listen, we're going to kick some ass. We're going to do it. Let's just get to doing it.
Oof.
All
love
right.
it.
Y'all have a good night. I don't know how to take myself off of here. What do I do?
Let me see if I can do it for you, but I think, let me see. Mute block. No, I don't want to block you. How do I take you off? There should be a little exit button in the top right corner of your screen. I'll let him figure that out though. He can stay muted if he wants to. Truth Talks Live. How are you? I don't know you, but welcome.
Right. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. We've been live here for a couple hours, talked about a lot tonight. I don't know how much of that conversation you caught, but
impressive. I like what I caught so far. It's a touchy subject. That's something I've been saying for years, and we've been saying that specifically in the last couple of days and weeks. We have our own international investigation operation. We've been working with people in the government whistleblowers. I'm an investigator myself. I'm not government affiliated, but I consider myself, of the people, by the people, for the people government, for God and the people. And, I even got a channel called The Shit Live. And I literally, it's not to keep it, not to make it racy or anything explicit, but, we take poops. I take poops live, and it's a joke. But, I say I do more than the government, what your government's doing. So, but I'll leave that on the side here. But,
got it.
Yeah,
I was
there's
gonna draw that
people
conclusion,
out
but I
there.
was like,
They're scared. They'd rather see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, or of no evil. Ignorance is bliss. Call us conspiracy theories because they don't want to be real men and women, and they want to attack us, attack our credibility, attack our character, our image, to make themselves look better to everyone else, and they don't care what's right or wrong as long as they look right and you look wrong.
Oof,
A lot of people, not all, not.
dropping truth. With you.
Hopefully that's dwindling down, and
Going
hopefully nothing soon. But that's what we're all about, is just waking people up and helping to unify, empower, train, brief, liberate, and save. And
I like it. I appreciate that. So, I'm just wondering because I don't know you, but are you familiar with what we do with Veterans for Child Rescue?
I don't. I would like to collaborate with you because we actually expose some child trafficking going on, and some stuff that is beyond the government's awareness. They're not even aware of what's going on here with brain hacking and you know mind control continued, like MK Ultra and COINTELPRO and stuff. And we've more than proved it with people in the CIA, the FBI, the Department of Defense, you name it.
Oh, that people don't know that the government's doing this.
Oh, it goes beyond
I
the
thought
government.
that the government's done.
These are
Yeah.
like child
Yeah.
trafficking syndicates. They have a lot of money. They're connected with the satanic Rothschild families and stuff like that, Illuminati kind of stuff. And they're trafficking people, and mostly women and children are being targeted, is what they call it. And we actually created a document, a one-page document for the governments, for people worldwide. It's targetingexposed.com. It's a document, and you can actually see it's for the governments and people to raise
Targeting.
awareness. So you should write that
Interesting.
down. You should check it out because that helps to raise awareness about modern day technological, what they call cyber trafficking, cyber rape, cyber torture, cyber terrorism, where they're using nanotechnology and 5G satellites, whatever they can use, to wirelessly, non-invasively. Well, it's invasive, obviously, but the victims have no privacy. They're hearing voices in their heads to make them sound crazy, but the voices are actually, most people don't know this, hypnotic neurolinguistic programming, psychic driving techniques being brainwashed into their heads over and over again to try to make them sex slaves, beta sex kittens, assassins, commit suicide, go to jail, commit crimes. It's pretty crazy stuff going on here. But they start people off at a childhood age on, usually, and they want to run this mind control because once they split, they use fear, trauma, and satanic ritual abuse to split fraction the mind and then program the mind like they would program an operating system on a computer hard drive. And then this partitioned off operating system is essentially a secretive personality that the person doesn't know about. And this is how they can, use people, take them over, technologically, temporarily possess people from a distance. So this is a threat to national and international security that's overlooked by just about everyone in our government, and they can be influenced at any time as well. And we're talking about nuclear launch codes, government secrets. They can get right into their heads, use their eyes as cameras, their ears as microphones, and even go in people's dreams at night. People are being cyber trafficked in hotel rooms, virtual simulated sensory augmented reality simulation matrix, what they call a sentient world simulation, with a quantum supercomputer in their dreams at night. It's pretty messed up. So that's why we're trying to raise awareness, because it goes far beyond, you just protecting your kids, from being abducted physically. Now they can be abducted from a distance with technologies.
So you guys can, in the comments, or the viewers, you guys can research what he's saying. I can't speak to everything, but I am familiar with certain words. And look, I just got to say this. We have to be careful about the words we use and choose on this platform, not because we're trying to conceal the truth, but because we're trying to spread the message.
They are.
And we got to we got to play by these rules and just say things softly. So it's not that that's how we feel about this. It's that we're trying to keep this message spreading. That being said, Gypsy Soul Vibes posted it in the comments. I'm not going to keep repeating that word because it's a little triggery for this platform, but you can research that exact thing because that is something I'm familiar with. Now, I can't, verify everything he said, but can you repeat that website? You said targetedexposed.com?
Yeah, if you guys want to write this down, it's targeting, targetingexposed.com. It's a one-page document, and it's a rabbit hole of rabbit holes. But I'm going to give you something better than that that'll lead to that anyway. and it's called supraleaks.com. It's called the Truth Files, and this needs to get leaked to the press and governments. And within this SuperLeaks collection, it's hosted on Google Documents. It's my personal account. I've dedicated my life to this for many, many years, for over a decade, working with thousands of other people, even people in our governments, to investigate and irrefutably prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, these aren't theories, that these things have been going on, so that they can finally do something about it. Because these are high-level aspects of our government, shadow government, the elitists, the cabal, the Illuminati, as they say. These are Satanists doing this stuff, satanic syndicates, and really nasty, evil people. Obviously they have to be in order to do these kinds of things. But beyond that, there's something located there, and I'm going to give you the tiny URL. One more link for you guys. It's tiny URL, TINY URL.com/the facts, FAX, PDF, or just Facts PDF. You can use both, and even SuperLeaks Facts PDF. Now it's Supra, SUPRA. So this is a calling for anyone that wants to be a superhero, beyond a hero, with beyond truth, beyond facts. You have real knowledge, which is power. Christ said, "For our people destroyed by lack of knowledge." So there's knowledge, so we are not destroyed. They say that the whole world is deceived, and the majority of the world is deceived. But with those super leaks right there, we can change that right here and right now, literally. We just got to go viral. People, their cat videos go viral with millions of views. Why can't we help change and save the world, right? That's all I
agree
got
with
for you.
Well, look, yeah, no,
Thank
I
you for
appreciate
having me
that.
on
Like,
here. I
I'm
appreciate
just
it.
going to put a disclaimer out. I haven't verified this information. These resources he's talking about, like, I compute a lot of what he's saying. I can't personally, verify or deny things specifically. I like to do my own research, but what we're encouraging people to do is look further than the TV, the media, the news, Google, like these very surface-based, spoon-fed type resources. There's a lot more information than that.
Now think for
But in
yourselves,
my
guys.
personal opinion, think for yourself, but also validate the facts, validate the source. Doing your research these days is very difficult because the internet has made a very lot of information accessible, which is both good and bad. However, I do want to bring it back to the subject of child trafficking, because that is what we're here to talk about, because not enough people are talking about it. There's a lot of misinterpretation of it. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of narrative that is intended to make people think this is a theory. Now, as a child trafficking survivor, I enjoy unpacking people's ignorance, especially when they need to see proof that this is real. I have no problem unpacking my trauma and raising people's awareness from the state it may now be in. However, I see some patterns in people that are very concerning. I'm not talking about specific people in this particular subject, but I'm talking about the public who with knowledge about the latest celebrity or the event or the XYZ drama that happened on the screens they watch, but they can't take the time, won't take the time to research what's actually happening, who's part of the problem, who's trying to solve this problem, who's risking their life to speak up about this and do something about it, and pick one way that they can help. Just one thing that they can do, one form of action. As a child trafficking survivor, I see so many people who say they care, who say save the children, who say they're gonna hearts and prayers, but they don't show up to do something. Now, I also have the honor and privilege of working with an amazing team who does show up to do something. So I'm not saying this is every single person. I'm saying this is the majority of people. A lot of people have big opinions. A lot of people have big excuses. But what's ironic is that someone like me who could make every single excuse in the book, I'm the one out here talking about it. I'm the one out here facing this evil on a daily basis and doing something about it. So, in my perspective, there's so much to be done in this world. In my perspective, pick one thing and do something meaningful about it. It can be something that I'm not doing anything about. You can be saving an animal that I don't particularly focus on. The point is that talk is cheap. The point is that being mad on social media isn't taking action. The point is that we should be doing more than thoughts and prayers. We should be showing up to do something. So I celebrate people who are actually taking action, who are actually standing together, united with people, who are actually, even if you can't be on the front lines, they're doing something in their own way, and or they're supporting those of us who are out here on the front lines. But I'm sure you've seen this as well. There are people who say things like, you'll never make a difference until the politicians in Washington, until the borders are closed, until this X, Y, and Z. Basically, the problem is too big, it's not worth fighting.
I think another thing that it's beyond it being big too. It's I heard from a credible source, actually multiple sources, that they take at least 1/3 of the children, that even federal operatives have been caught in the Finder scandal, CIA and FBI kidnapping, and taken underground. They take them underground in the deep underground military bases, so that way they can't find them anymore. And then, after that, they're just, you know, so they need to go after these operatives, or they need to go up the chain command. Someone needs to go deep cover that knows about these operations, and figure out where these kids are going and who's taking these kids. Because I know the government's involved, and whether because they own the CIA, they own the NSA, they own the FBI, they own these agencies, so they can easily control the investigations and control the opposition, so they never get caught.
100%. So I wanna highlight that fact, right? That, like, let's logically deduct the fact that if they're behind it, they're first of all not trying to stop it, and any effort to pretend to stop it is a very ridiculous pretense. Okay, so but I do want to add something to one of the premises, right? One of the misconceptions about child trafficking is that people think it's just this way, or it's either like what they saw in a Hollywood movie, or it's what they read about, this one aspect of it. I'm not disagreeing with you that this part of it happens, and I'm not saying it's a small part of it either. But what I'm saying is that one of the misconceptions about child trafficking is that it's just XYZ, this one thing. And people don't realize when it's happening right in front of them, because they're just looking for this, but they don't realize when it's right in front of them in real life. So one of the complicated issues about this whole topic is that there are so many variables to it. There are so many ways this can happen. I could list 100 different instances and it still wouldn't be all inclusive, right? There are kids who are born into it. There are kids sold into it. There are kids in it for a little bit and then somehow get out. There are people who are in it for a very long time, sometimes their whole life. There's a lot of different ways that this can happen. That makes it a very complicated problem. That means there's not a one-size-fits-all solution. So Everyday Slave says, what are some examples of trafficking we commonly miss? So what I do is oversimplify and generalize, because like I said, I could give you 100 specific examples and it still wouldn't be all inclusive. What I want people to get away from is that it's just whatever they think it is in their head. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you're probably seeing that part of the elephant and not the whole thing. So I'm going to give you guys some specific examples, okay? For example, I was born and raised in a religious cult. I was born into, created for an environment where trafficking was one of the many forms of abuse. I didn't join, I wasn't kidnapped, I wasn't missing, right? Let me unpack this. There are parents who enable this environment. There are, I'm going to lightly say, negligent parents. I'm going to give you a few different examples of how this can happen, okay? There are negligent parents who will willingly give, sell, abuse their child. Maybe it's for financial gain. Maybe it's because they're trying to get their drug fix. Maybe they're just that sick and evil and psychotic. But there are parents and family members who will contribute to or traffic their own children. Yes, there are children who are kidnapped, but I would venture to say that is the minority of the cases. Now, statistics are hard because this whole thing is not reported. The whole point is that this is a secretive, protected enterprise. So it's not like there's a registry and we can verify the data, right? No one knows the real numbers. So when people ask for the real numbers, I don't even get into that because it's much bigger than we think. And any statistics that we can confirm are just barely scratching the tip of the iceberg. That being said, the FBI can confirm between about 400,000 and 800,000 children missing every year. Like, that's a big problem. But that being said, whether whether it's 10 children or 1,000 children or 100,000 children, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with the fact that that's happening, but I'm letting you know that whatever statistics are out there are not accurate. They're barely scratching the tip of the iceberg. So I'm still talking about the different ways that child trafficking can happen. I'm going to tell a story. This is not about me. This is not about my story. I really stay away from that for a lot of reasons, but this part of my story I feel is important for people to know, and I tell this part often because not only is it true, it's an example of how one person could have been part of the solution. So in my story, my parents are from the United States. I was born in Brazil. I was raised in Brazil and Mexico. I was born and raised in a religious cult where trafficking was one of the many forms of abuse. I spent 4 years of my childhood in the United States. From the age of 10 to 14 years old, I was in Houston, Texas. During those 4 years, I worked on street corners, in restaurants, in malls, in parking lots, in people's houses, at the Astrodome, at the George R. Brown Convention Center, like at all different types of locations. A child. I was 10 to 14. I have a baby face still. I'm just saying, I was obviously a child. There was no way I could have been maybe 18, right? So thousands of people, hundreds of thousands maybe, drove by me, walked by me, gave me money, and kept going. Every single week, a child working on the streets. Not one person, not one adult, not one law enforcement officer had the courage or the awareness to stop and say, "Are you okay? What are you doing here? Why are you alone? Where are your parents? Do you go to school? Where do you don't go? Where do you live? What are you doing with?" Not one person. "Have you eaten today? Are you okay? Are you safe? Can I help you with anything? Is there anything I can do to help? Here's my number if you ever need anything." Not one person. Now, this is not a sob story about me. This is an example of me being in front of people's faces in the US of A. I'm not saying it's okay overseas. I'm saying I have a different standard for what we should accept within our own country. And I'm saying not one person, not one adult had the awareness, the courage, the whatever you want to call it, to stop and ask a child if they were okay, if they needed help. That's one of many examples. It's unfortunate, but it's a reality that I can speak to, that I experienced, that a lot of people talk about what they would do and how they would be a hero, but when it comes to real life, not a lot of people have the awareness, know what to look for, and know what to do. Now, exactly what Gypsy says, the very people who should be helping kids are the very ones complicit in it all. Now, I have a few rhetorical questions for the class. This is very personal to me for obvious reasons, right? But I want you guys to acknowledge the fact that I'm not out here fighting for myself. Unfortunately, I was never rescued. I'm not going to be part of any of the statistics you'll read, and me and tens of thousands of other children who were born and raised in the same environment as me, all over the world, in the same environment as me. We were never rescued. We were never part of the statistics. No one ever came for us, saved us, advocated for us. I'm paying it forward. I'm here to protect other children. I don't have children of my own. This is not about me, but I am speaking from experience. But I want people to realize I'm not out here fighting for myself. I'm fighting for your children, for the children, because I am not okay with this flourishing at the rate that it is. However, I am grateful to not only have survived something that most people do not survive. I escaped when I was 20 years old. Very few people survive. However, I am grateful to be here, and I am grateful and honored to be able to face this evil without fear, because sometimes it takes little old petite females like me telling grown-ass people to their face that they do not need to be afraid of the dark. That being afraid of the dark is not helping children. They don't need to be afraid of the dark that the children are experiencing on a daily basis. No, no, no. We need to turn the lights on. We need to turn on the lights, because light is what eradicates darkness. Darkness has no power in the face of light. Let me show you something. Darkness in and of itself is not a thing. Darkness is simply the absence of light. Now, you can create an environment for darkness to thrive. But if you let any light in, darkness has no power. So, If we are allowing darkness to thrive, it means we are not being the light. The lights are off. It's up to us to turn the lights on. I'm being both metaphorical here, but I'm also being real because I know this evil. I have faced it, I have overcome it, and I'm here to tell other people not to be afraid of it. I'm letting you know that if you're standing there afraid of it, that's not part of the solution, and that's not helping children.
To know that you are the light,
Did you have a question?
that God is the light inside of you. The Holy Spirit is light. Spirit is light. And that's what everything comes from, light. The Spirit, that's proof of God, technically, because, they say Spirit is the highest element, and all the elements come from the element of Spirit. And they say God is Spirit, and that our souls are made of Spirit, and that we're made of Spirit, and that, that's what we are beyond our bodies and our minds, immaterially. We're spiritual beings, and we're the light here, fighting for God against the forces of evil and for our souls. I was trafficked too as a kid. I was messed with. I was mind controlled. I've been MK Ultra'd. I've been violated for years. I still am. I'm persecuted. I'm a persecuted person. I'm a target individual, what we were talking about earlier. So I can speak on behalf of every single victim on this planet and say that it is beyond thousands of victims every year. It's beyond thousands. There are millions of children being taken, being assaulted, being trafficked. And I got to be careful what words I'm using, but this is very real. And this goes beyond the comprehension of the majority of the people that investigate these things right now.
1000%. So those of us who know what we're talking about, who have faced this evil, who are not only unafraid of it, but we are so honored to be here to expose it to you. We want to unpack evil's strategy because we know it, and because knowing the enemy is how you overpower the enemy. Now, if everything is energy, and no expert will disagree with me on that, you can call it God or whatever you want, right? That doesn't trigger me. I'm just saying, I'm using words that hopefully everyone can relate to so that there's no resistance, right? I'm not triggered by the word God, by the way. I'm just saying, I'm oversimplifying it, right? If everything is energy, undeniably, there is positive and negative energy. And those are two opposite ends of the spectrum. They cannot exist in the same place at the same time. Those are two opposite ends of the vibrational spectrum. You cannot focus on both positive and negative things at the same time. So if you turn your focus towards the positive or the light or God or whatever you want to call it, you would have to do a 180 in order to focus on the negativity. By the same token, if you are enveloped by the darkness, afraid of the darkness, if all you see is darkness, it's because your attention is focused on the darkness, and here's what it takes. Deciding to focus on the light. Now again, this is pretty metaphorical, but it's powerful for those of us who are paying attention and who are catching on to the fact that our power is within us. It is a divine power. It is a higher power that we all have access to. But here's what dims our light. When we disconnect from our power, when we allow ourselves to be disconnected, disunited, disunified, distracted, that dims our light. That is what is allowing this darkness to thrive. It is creating an environment where darkness is thriving and light is overpowered by the darkness. Now, you cannot destroy energy. You cannot create or destroy energy, correct? Energy cannot be destroyed, but it can be manipulated. Energy can be controlled. You can create, if you think of it like a pie chart, you could create more light, which would create less space for darkness. What we're doing is shining the light on the darkness. And my goal is to shine a light so bright that darkness cannot exist. One of my goals is to bring the topic of child trafficking to the presidential debate stage. Y'all, speak this into existence with me. Right now, our politicians are too cowardly to talk about it. Make a sound with their mouth. Talk about it. They are too cowardly to even talk about it. Protecting children. Those of us, we've survived this evil, and instead of never facing and reliving this trauma again, we're out here unpacking our trauma so that people wake up to what's happening and realize We don't have to allow the darkness to overcome us, and we definitely don't have to be scared of the dark. No, 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 no. The darkness is afraid of the light because the light is what overpowers the darkness. We are, at this moment, in general, as a society, allowing the darkness to overpower the light, and people are sitting in the corner saying, oh no, the darkness is scary. I want to help you remove that fear. I want to help you remove the excuses that are separating you from yourself, from your higher power, the connection to the divine. That is your right, that is your power, and that is what this world needs. That's what the children need. They need fierce, empowered, strong advocates like you and me to be their voice, to fight for them.
So are
In
you
my
saying
opinion,
that we need somebody that is a good politician or that is in the system or to go into the system to kind of Trojan horse the system? Is that what we should do?
I mean, there's a lot of things we should do. Like, let me be real clear. I'm super, super, super not political. Like, as a person, I'm just saying, like,
I'm
I grew
not
up
either.
overseas in third world countries. We have an understanding that politics is bullshit. We have an understanding that politicians are not for the people, okay?
Hmm.
In the USA, there's still this fallacy that politics is real. I hope I'm not
I
triggering
think
people
it's all
here.
scandals.
I look at politics like pro wrestling, okay?
Yeah.
You're allowed to be entertained by it. The sooner we all realize it's like pro wrestling, and I hope I didn't just burst anyone's bubble here, you're allowed to be entertained by it. I don't watch TV. You're allowed to watch TV. I'm not here to take that from you. I'm not here to take Santa Claus from you either. I'm just saying, in 2023, if you're a grown ass adult, let's not pretend like these things are actually here for the people or like real in the essence of corruption and what they could and did not do about it. Like, let's remove the false premise. So, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for or that kind of thing. I'm here to tell people to take action. I'm here to ignite people because I know that if I light a match in the thickest, darkest place, that match will overpower the darkness. I know the darkness cannot touch that light. I'm here to ignite people and tell them not to be afraid. Fear is one of the lowest vibrations. Fear is powerless. Fear dims your light. I'm telling you to reignite and connect with your power, and I promise you we can overcome.
Can I just spill something for you real quick?
Feel it.
Ah, what you just said hit totally home, and it was right there on the nail. And it's literally, I did something, right? And I'm gonna come straight forward. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna come forward. I'm gonna come clean and say, I don't actually plan on running for president, being the president of the United States. But I made a video. And I made a big spectacle on the internet not too long ago, and I told everybody I'm going to run in 2028 when I'm legal, because I'm only 30 now. You got to be 35 or something to be the president, right? So I said, I don't want to be a politician because I'm not political, and I'm against politics. It's all scandalous, satanic bullshit. It's a bunch of garbage. But like a secret agent, I want to infiltrate the ranks and go all the way up to president, be 24/7 on live surveillance of the people so they can see me even taking craps if they want it. So that way I can never be replaced, never be taken over, never be blackmailed, bribed. I want 24/7 surveillance, and I want to shut it down. I want to expose the whole system. I want to cut every single executive order and Freemason and Illuminati member out of the system and shut it down for good and give all the people the power and make it so that they can create money again. Because I think money, church, and state are how the powers that be control the world. That and words. Words are like the most powerful weapons there are. They're neurolinguistic programming, whatever programming they're using. But yeah, if you guys want to watch that video, I'm gonna give you one more link. tinyurl.com/Devin for POTUS. It might be vote for Dev too. But I'm serious. What I did in that link was set it up like you said, light the match to set it off. An endless amount of chain reactions, like a jack in a box. Let the force of evil crank us up so we pop up on them and open up the can of worms on them, and now it's a never-ending amount of butterfly effects, ripple effects, anomalies they weren't ready for, and now the whole world's waking up, surrounding them, and all the people they deceived, that they controlled, that were following them, that they were their little slaves, now strong with us and God, real God, now we can turn on them, do what we got to do
I like it.
fearlessly.
I like it. I appreciate the passion. I believe that all of us have a purpose on this earth. I believe that the more we do for other people, the better we make our world, the more healing we receive, the more we receive. The more you give, the more you receive. That's one of the most oversimplified concepts. But it's really true in the sense of if people want to see the change, we need to be the change, right? It's not enough to shake our fist and hope that someone else comes to save us or that someone else will solve our problems or blame our problems on other people. What's up, Boost Me Up, PD? Good to see you, man. What we need to do is be the change. So that starts at home. That starts with ourselves. Philip Drake was saying you can't help your neighbor if your house is on fire, or if your house is a mess or something like that. It's true. We need to start at home. That means, yes, if a lot of us, there's this whole thing with a lot of people not healing and they say hurt people hurt people. There's a lot of people hurting people simply because they have unresolved trauma. That's a whole other topic. But the point is that, yes, it does start with you, with acknowledging that not only do you have work to do, but in order to be in the position to help other people, you do have to start with yourself, right? So be the change. Exactly.
Thank you again
Then
for having me on here. I don't have to go, but I want to thank you for what you're doing too. You're amazing. You're incredible, and what you're doing right here is absolutely miraculous. And more people need to do it. Keep calling out these soldiers. Remind them that they're the biggest tough guys on the planet, so they shouldn't be being the biggest. Stop, sir, yes, sir, and and do the work that you gotta do for the people, please. Sorry, but I want to collab with you later on in the future if you want. 860-731-8681, or just check out my channel, all right? Hit me up.
Get that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll follow you and we'll definitely love to work with you guys. Thanks again for being here. Appreciate
Everything
it.
I said's on
Keep
the
it.
channel for you too, my number too. So thank
Okay,
you.
awesome. I
Yep.
gave you a follow. I look forward to seeing more of you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
We've been live here for about
I like it.
2.5 hours, so I'll probably call it a day here as well. If you guys have any other questions, though, go ahead and put them in the comments. What we've talked about tonight, just a little recap for anyone who just joined us. Very long story short. Veterans for Child Rescue is a nonprofit. We're based in the USA, and our mission is to make our country safe. The USA, and our mission is to make our country safe for children by exposing and eradicating child trafficking. This is something that enjoys a lot of top cover. This is something that's very funded, protected, supported, and that's not okay. So tonight, we normally keep politics out of this discussion because a lot of people like to politicize the discussion, which is a little confusing to say the least, but it's also inaccurate because protecting children should not be a political issue, right? This is something that should unite us all and help us rally around protecting children, our future, our most vulnerable asset. The fact is that child exploitation and trafficking is the fastest growing and second largest criminal enterprise on this planet. The sale and exploitation of children. Repeat that to yourselves and let me know if that's okay with you. Hopefully that's a rhetorical question. But what I'm saying is that this issue is a massive problem, not only in the entire world, but specifically within our country. It's estimated to be at least a $50 billion per year criminal enterprise in the USA. ICANN Detective says, please check your kids' devices every night, every day, check on your kids. Appreciate you, and every time you show up with that message, it's something parents need to hear, so keep sharing it. Not a lot of people realize that this change starts with you at home. That means doing your part, and that means checking on your children. That means safeguarding them. We have tons of resources about internet safety, apps and technology you can use to monitor a child's internet activity, a lot of different resources and tools that are free that we put out for the public to help you protect your children. We're not saying it's easy. We're saying please don't ignore this because the reality is that children are being targeted. The reality is that there's a war on children. The reality is that evil's targeting children, and it's up to we, the people, to protect children. Children can be targeted, harmed, exploited, trafficked in so many different ways. There's nothing fair about this. We are asking you to face the reality. iCan Detective says, sadly, they are not safe in their bedrooms anymore. Real quick on internet safety, because iCan Detective is absolutely right, and like us, he has seen too much, he knows the truth, and he's wanting people to take this seriously. Do you realize that just because your child is upstairs in their bedroom, if they have a device in the palm of their hands that gives them unlimited access to the internet, to all information out there, do you realize that this is essentially a direct portal from predators to your child? They may be upstairs in their bedroom with the windows closed and the door locked, but do you realize what type of access these predators have directly to children these days? We should all know how vulnerable children are, how innocent are, and we should do our best to maintain and protect their innocence. He says cell phones are a loaded weapon. Please don't give your children a loaded weapon and just hope for the best and keep them busy that way. You can do your best to educate them, to safeguard them, to listen, to monitor their behavioral changes when something's different, when something changes, when something's not right. As a parent, we want you to pay attention to that. We want you to ask questions. We want you to listen, full stop. We want you to implement boundaries and safeguards because the children deserve it and because it's your responsibility as the parent to protect your children. They don't know wrong from right completely yet, and this world is very confusing and very predatory. So it's a very complicated situation for kids to grow up in today. It is important for us to not only take this seriously, but to take action. Now, we could sit here all night and blame everyone else for this problem, and I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm saying that's not part of the solution. I'm saying, yes, this problem is intentional. Yes, the powers that be are aware of this issue. There's a reason it's protected, supported, funded, right? There's a reason that there is intentional opposition against organizations like ours who are speaking up to protect children and to put bad guys behind bars with a 100% conviction rate. That means it's up to us. It's up to we the people to protect our children. That means no one's coming to save us. That means if not us, then who? If I knew that there were other people out here speaking up for children and protecting them, believe me, I wouldn't be here because I wish someone else could do this. I wish it could not be me unpacking and reliving this trauma that I overcame and experienced after 20 years of being born and raised in this environment. But knowing what I know, it is not acceptable to me that other children are experiencing this still on a daily basis and that predators are allowed to not only exist, but thrive in our culture. It's not okay to me that our culture has normalized the predation of children, the exploitation, and is profiting from it. That's not okay with me, and hopefully that's not okay with you. So, as a nonprofit, our mission is to expose this because awareness matters. Awareness reduces the predator's ability to operate. It at least makes it harder for bad guys to do bad things. And it also arms we the people with the knowledge and the power to protect children. So, what we're asking you guys to do is to pick one way that you can help, that you can be part of the solution, that you can protect children. We have tons of resources and information on our website, vetsforchildrescue.org. The link is in our bio. There's so many ways that you can help. We have 10 action steps you can take right now to be part of the solution. Take one. We're asking you to do something. We're asking you to put your money where your mouth is, put your feet where your mouth, like a lot of people say they care. We're asking you to show up and show you care. Not for us, this is for the children. I'm not out here fighting for me or for my freedom. I don't even have children. I'm not fighting for myself. I'm fighting for the children because it should not be okay with any of us that children are being harmed and exploited on an industrial scale within our country every day. So, I appreciate you guys for being here, for showing up, for listening, for learning. I hope this discussion was educational. I know we talked about a lot of things tonight. What I want you to take away from this, yes, it's real. Yes, it's terrible. It's worse than you know. And yes, we can do something about this. Thank you, Bearded Montana, and thank you to all the moderators here tonight. I know some of them It's late in your time zones. We appreciate you guys so much for showing up to help. Bearded Montana says, check out the link in the bio, watch our documentary Contraland, educate yourself, learn about what this is. We are here to expose the strategy because we can overcome this. Thank you guys again, and we hope to see you next Thursday. We go live every Thursday at 7:30 Central Time on this account. Also give us a follow, check out the videos. We put bad guys behind bars, and sometimes we film it for you because it's important for people to know what's really going on. There's a lot of things we're doing both in the public eye and also a lot behind the scenes, so there's a lot more to come. We appreciate you guys. We thank you so much for being here. We thank you for being part of the solution. We thank you for showing up and taking action. Thank you for the gifts and for the love and for tapping the screen and for sharing this live. Thank you because it matters. As a survivor of child trafficking, thank you for being a voice for the voiceless. I hope you guys have an amazing night, and I look forward to talking to you again next.